Hi there everyone, Lars back from just reading the Book of Bill. I've been looking forward to this book for a long time, and we now have firm confirmation of what has happened to Bill Cipher. Yes, there will be spoilers in this video. However, I want to save that for a little bit later. I know that's kind of burying the lead a little bit, but because this is a channel by novice writers for novice writers, I want to talk about why this book is so significant before I discuss what has actually happened to Bill and what this means for all of us going forward. So if you don't want to be spoiled, if you want to read the Book of Bill for yourself, then please click away from this video as much as it pains us for you to do so, and order a copy for yourself. Trust me, you will love it and possibly get cursed by it. Alright, so let's talk about why this book was made. And no, it wasn't just made for the money.
Hey, must be the money. Money, 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 money. I like that guy's style.
This book does provide us with some crucial information about the characters of Gravity Falls, but specifically for Bill, it gives us some answers to what he is, to who he is, to where he comes from and everything, but at the same time, it actually lies to us. It doesn't tell us everything. This is basically Alex Hirsch once again pulling our legs saying, look, the story's a whole lot more fun when there are still mysteries. Now, this is different than the mystery box approach from J.J. Abrams, where J.J. Abrams has a central question, a central mystery that you're trying to solve throughout the story, but you never do. He says it's a whole lot more interesting to see how the characters are developed and how the world unfolds around this mystery, but at the moment that you see what the mystery is, once it's solved, that it loses all of its presence and charm. Instead, Alex Hirsch goes with the approach of, I have got a big story to tell you that is centered on these characters, and what pushes them off on their journey are these different mysteries. Now, a lot of the mysteries, such as who is the author of journal number 3, why did they write it, who is Bill, what's going on in Gravity Falls, nearly all of the main questions have been answered. There aren't that many major mysteries left. There's a bunch of stuff that's been spun off from each and every single episode and from the different books, and those are mysteries that are meant for the audience to grapple with and have fun with, while Alex Hirsch and friends sprinkle some answers here and there. The Book of Bill is meant to continue some of the biggest mysteries surrounding our Dorito overlord, but there is another reason, something at the heart of this entire journey, and why Alex Hirsch, after all of the abuse that Disney has put him through, why would he come back now to make this cursed book? The real reason for writing this book is hidden within a quote from Stanford Pines towards the end of Bill's book. Because, well, the Pines get a hold of what Bill is doing, and they realize that he's trying to break his way, even beyond death, back into our world. And he's actually succeeding. But rather than outright trying to stop him, they instead kind of mess around with him a little bit. And we get this fantastic quote from Stanford. "It hit me all at once," writes Stanford, "the real reason I had kept the book a secret. I thought I was protecting my family, but I was really protecting myself from humiliation. Shame is a powerful emotion, but it grows in the dark. The more I've tried to hide my past with Bill, the more hold it has had over me. But sharing it with others, it went from a dark secret to a joke. They didn't see me, they being his friends and family, they didn't see me as an irredeemable screw-up. Stanley said, 'So, your past is just a giant pile of mistakes. Congratulations, you really are Pines!' And as we read the book together, it became increasingly clear. This isn't some dark Bible or cursed gateway. It is the last pathetic gasp of a has-been who fears being forgotten. Bill isn't a god. He's a needy theater kid in search of a stage. He's making it all up as he goes. All he really wants is for us to keep reading, because as long as we're reading, we're giving him his real lifeblood. Not power, attention. You can't kill an idea, but you can think of a better one. Now, for those of you who have really studied journal number 3, you'll learn this, that while Dipper and Mabel are the surrogates for Alex and his sister Ariel, and it's their adventure, he's kind of living through them, when Alex actually wants to deliver something truly heartfelt to the audience, he speaks through Stanford and through Stanley. While Stanley, or as we like to call him, Grunkle Stan, really is a goof with a big heart, we get to see a lot of the messaging that Alex really wanted to communicate to his audience through journal number 3 when we see the perspective of Stanford, or Ford Pines. And here, when we get his words, everything else from Mabel, Dipper, and Stan that they put into this book to mess around with Bill is really great and all, but the real heart is right there. And the answer is there. Why have we returned to the Book of Bill after so long now? After so long since Gravity Falls wrapped up? It's because Alex Hirsch is saying, look, I love what I did with Gravity Falls. It is amazing. I also look back and I realize I was a goof. I was young. In some cases, I didn't know exactly what I was doing. It took on a life of its own, but you know what? I'm going to own that. I love it. But we can't just keep coming back to Gravity Falls. You have to move on. There are other ideas, other great adventures to be had. But as the book so ominously closes, with Bill saying all it takes is just for someone, somewhere, sometime, to let him loose, never say never. There is a chance for Gravity Falls to come back. But until such a crazy opportunity arrives, the audience needs to move on. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. We take with us all these great memories, all of these great stories and adventures and mysteries and riddles and fantastic characters that we've loved now for over 10 years. They don't go away, but we don't need to stay in the past forever. We can move forward and start telling other great stories. And I wish Alex Hirsch the best in doing that, because if you're asking me, I think he peaked with Gravity Falls, and it's going to be a long time before he surpasses what he managed to do with the Pines and with Bill Cipher. So that's really the heart of the message. Sure, it's a lot of fun. You get a lot of fourth wall breaking stuff. Bill is just absolutely great. He's unrestrained in this book, and it had me laughing and cringing and being woohoo multiple times. It is fantastic. So let's get to the spoiler bit. Where is Bill? Well, Bill is in a special dimension for rehabilitation. Turns out that yes, he was destroyed. He got very close to dying, but he made a deal with the great Axolotl that if given a chance, he would be able to take on a different form at a different time, another life. However, we realize that Bill really does not want to be in this other dimension. He wants to break loose. He wants to go back to the unending party of fun and of destruction. And it's because we get to see throughout the book, this guy is truly insane. He takes megalomania to a whole new level, and he cannot stand being stuck in this little confined space. That's the way he's always been, because he's always been praised for being special and for his unique ability to see more of the world than what there really is for most other people to see. And while that's a great gift, he let that gift corrupt and destroy him, much like what he tried to do to Stanford Pines. This is really great symmetry between these different characters, and you can kind of see why they connected actually so strongly earlier on in their history. And Bill is using every opportunity he can, every trick he has in the book to try to break out, literally from within the book. And there is still that chance that he might get out. Now, another little fun spoiler for any of you who have watched our videos about the Connected Cartoon Universe, we get confirmation yet again that the Connected Cartoon Universe is something that Alex Hirsch and friends have really wanted to do. And you know what? We get that confirmation with the core from Amphibia. The axolotl apparently had enough benevolence to rescue the core from its own death and give it a chance to be rehabilitated. So, we have two major villains in the same prison together, just waiting to bust on out. It looks as though Gravity Falls and Amphibia, their crossover is more than just a one-and-done deal with that episode, with their crossover episode back in Amphibia. As it turns out, there are all different kinds of connections between Gravity Falls, Amphibia, and the Owl House. If given a chance, there is a way for these stories to all come together, and it seems as though Bill is at the center of all of that, which works well as a triangle because you have these three stories coming together. Oh, this could be absolutely amazing, but it will come down to Disney about whether or not that will happen. And it's curious that Disney allowed this to go through. I actually think that's a sign that Disney is truly desperate. We've seen the news and everything that they are hemorrhaging money. Sure, it's very true that they've had now 2 great movies this year with Inside Out 2 and Deadpool and Wolverine. That is fantastic. But 2 $1 billion plus movies will not erase the $70+ billion that Disney is in the hole. They need to start making up ground, and part of that comes from tapping back into the well that could be a great money printing device, and Gravity Falls was very popular. Now, there could be more to it. Who knows what strings were pulled, what favors were called in, and everything else. And honestly, because Disney always disrespects its television station, and specifically its cartoons, who knows if this was just Alex Hirsch's chaos finding a way to break on in and do something awesome before Mickey Mouse got the reins again of the whole production. Who really knows? Or maybe this really is Bill just cursing us and trying to get back into our universe. But in any case, I do highly recommend checking out the Book of Bill if you haven't already gotten yourself a copy. It would be a great way of showing Disney that we support great stories and great storytellers and letting them know that, hey, we would like to see more Gravity Falls. Alex Hirsch has left the door open. He says he's moving on to other things, but never say never. And we definitely want to support this. Plus, we would love to support a crossover between Gravity Falls, Amphibia, and the Owl House. The Owl House deserves its due. And we know from what Matt Brawley himself said that there was a big project that he really wanted to do. He was teasing out what it would be like if there could be a crossover between all of these shows. It would be phenomenal, but it comes down to us, the audience, to let Disney know that they are leaving money on the table unless they take that opportunity. But if they don't, well, you know what? We can still move on. We can still tell our own stories. And thinking about telling our own stories, it's actually kind of interesting here as I've been reading this book, especially with some of the little side details, that in my own quest to write a potential crossover between Gravity Falls, Amphibia, and the Owl House, which you can check out, I'll have a link for that in the description below, I've actually gotten a lot of details right, which is kind of scary. Maybe Bill is talking to me and I don't really know that yet. Uh-oh. But if you would like to check that out and see what a continuation for these 3 shows might look like, then check out my fanfiction. But if you're looking for a story that can take you someplace else, that can leave Gravity Falls in the past with all of the honors and accolades and praise that it rightfully deserves, but move forward in a new direction with brand new stories, then I suggest checking out my book, The Monarch Mercenaries: Autonomy, a spacefaring pirate adventure story that is honestly too hot, too spicy, too grand for even traditional publishing. Or you can also check out one of my personal favorite books that I've written, Bleed, Steam, and Steel. Or one of the newest books that I've just published, Puss in Boots and the Dark Riddles, a spiritual successor to the original Puss in Boots fairy tale. If you would pick up a copy of one of those books, it would help us out so much. But if you don't, we appreciate you clicking here on this video, watching this, enjoying the adventure of writing with us. And until the next video, y'all, thank you so much, and tschüss.